Hey guys, this is Pam, and thanks for visiting the Let's Stay Married page. Now, I am gonna start doing like a little, I don't know what you want to call it, maybe a book study or whatever. But anyway, what I want to do is stop, get in, go out. I want to present some tools and resources to you guys to help you in your marriage. Now, I know some of you may be readers and some of you may not. Even if you're not a reader, when our marriages get in trouble, we tend to look for different things and resources, especially if we want our marriages to work. We tend to look for different things that can help us and possibly save our marriage. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to present to you some of the resources and materials that I've used that have been that have worked for me in my marriage and through different times and hardships that me and my husband has experienced. Because I grew up in a family, loving family and everything, and we always had family nights and different things, and I never, as far as I can remember, I've never ever seen my parents argue or fight about anything except for one time. And that was nearing the end of their marriage. My parents are now divorced, but they're the best of friends. They are hilarious. You know, sometimes I even wonder, you know, why you guys are not back together or whatever, you know. But, you know, but towards the end of my high school years, my parents actually got divorced, you know, and this is not to embarrass anybody, but just to kind of take you through some things of what I experienced in my background and why I'm sharing certain resources with you that I am, is because these are from my personal experience. Now, let me give you a little disclaimer here. I'm here just presenting information that I've personally used myself. Josh, get down. Go back in the living room and play. That I personally use myself. I'm not a licensed counselor, nor do I hold a degree, but I do not hold a degree in counseling. The stuff that I'm sharing with you is just things from my heart, things that I personally experienced, you know, in hopes to help you. Not saying that you experience the same thing I did, but I know that there's a lot of people that has experienced some of the same situations that I have. So I pray that I can help you by being transparent with you about my life and my experiences, that I can offer you some hope that things will get better if you're willing to work at your marriage. If you have two parties willing to work at it, it's a long road to recovery, but I think it's well worth it, because I was raised with the principles that family matters and family is worth fighting for and worth restoring. So, with that being said, let me introduce you to the first resource I want to present to you. I know with this being the first one, it may kind of seem like, man, you just like jump right to the hard stuff, you know, but what I realize is people are experiencing the hard stuff, and families are crying out for help. Husbands are hurting, wives are hurting, children are hurting, and as a result, our homes are being torn apart, our communities are going haywire, and the nation is going crazy. I truly believe that if we focus on our family, if each individual family begins to focus on changing the people, well, you can't make anybody else change, but if we focus on bettering our lives and our households, those changes will begin to affect our communities and affect our cities and affect our states and affect our nation as a whole. And that's how change is going to happen, one family at a time. But it takes a decision. It takes a I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I'm recording. Be quiet, don't make him holler. Make him something. Josh, hush. He already ate with the sugar. Kids, and I don't know how to pause this recording. Joshua, stop crying. He's gonna make you some. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is my life. I really don't know how to edit my videos yet to edit that out, so please forgive me. I'm sorry, it's my 2-year-old. He wants some chocolate milk. His brother is making some and he's not making him any. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. Chill out, make him some, don't make a mess, clean up after yourself. But it starts with us making a conscious decision that we're gonna fight for our marriages, we're gonna fight for our families, we're gonna fight for change, and we're gonna change the world, our family, we're gonna change the world from the inside out. You know, we see all these different tragedies on the news, and families breaking up, and kids dying, and spouses. I mean, just all kinds of horrible stuff that's happening because of the breakdown of the family, and it tears me apart. It's a really deep passion of mine for family restoration, because if the family gets it together, we wouldn't have a lot of the stuff that's going on. We wouldn't have a lot of the breakdowns of our children and their lifestyles that they're leading, and secret lifestyles, and all this stuff that can be prevented if the mom and the dad, the husband and the wife, were in their proper place. What it really breaks down to is a hardness of heart and pride on our parts as being husbands and wives, and not wanting to grow up and wanting to have our way, and not even wanting to forgive one another. Those are where the problems stem from. It's not our children, it's not our cities, our nations, the world. It's us as individuals, because we refuse to make a change and we refuse to forgive one another. If we can understand that, our world would literally change almost overnight, because it's in our hearts to do what is right. It's in our hearts that we're going to stand here to the end. We made a commitment, and we're going to stand by this commitment. And we're not going to focus on you and what you're doing wrong, and why you're treating me this way, and why I always get the bad end of the stick. Enough of that foolishness. It has nothing to do with the other spouse. It has everything to do with you, with me, with what's in my heart, with what's in my mind, with what's coming out of my mouth projected towards you. I've learned a lot of stuff in my 12 years of marriage. I've learned some very, very hard lessons that I would like to share with you and be very transparent with you about. Now, the stuff that I share is not to embarrass myself, nor my husband, nor my family at all. It's just to paint a story. And some things I'll tell you about, but some things I won't get into too much detail on, because for one, it's not needed, and you'll get the gist of what I'm trying to explain to you, you know. But if you're dealing with some personal issues that are really hard for you, what I recommend is that you find somebody that you can confide in, that you trust, that's going to give you balanced information and help. Not somebody that's going to tell you what to do and take sides with you, or take sides with your spouse, but you need somebody objective that's going to look at both sides of the story, and it's going to help you see the big picture, and it's going to help you to figure out what the root cause of the problem is. It's going to help you get to the root cause of the problem without pointing blame or making it seem like it's the other party's fault. And indeed could be, but so what? You know, we're not going to focus on the other party. We're just going to focus on ourselves and what we need to do to regain our power back as husbands, as wives, and to stand our ground in our marriage and say enough is enough. We're going to make a change today. Once you guys decide that you want your marriage to work, you have to learn to work together as a team. You have to look at things, and for one, if you keep in the forefront of your mind at all times that I'm not your enemy, you're not my enemy, we're not here to work and fight against one another, most of the battle is won right there. You know, you can work things out from that point. Ask Jeremiah to give you some more. Go ahead. Go take it to Jeremiah, tell me to give you some more. Go ahead. So that's pretty much the biggest thing, and you guys on a daily basis have to work at it. You have to constantly realize that different obstacles and things are going to come up that you have to deal with. Wait a minute, Joshua. Jeremiah, come here. And if you guys are willing to work on it, work on it and just give it all you got at all times. And you have to be mindful of different times when you may be tired or frustrated or coming home from work or whatever. Try not to talk about sensitive issues at those times, because things get blown out of proportion. You're going to mishear what your spouse is trying to say to you or trying to communicate to you. So you need to talk about sensitive issues when you guys are both relaxed and in an environment that's conducive to the conversation that you need to have. Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead. Go in there with him, boo. I'll be done in a second. Go ahead. So, with that being said, the first resource that I want to introduce to you that helped me out so much, so much, is a book by Mr. James Dobson, Love Must Be Tough. Now, some of you guys may have read this. And some may not have read it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to review the different chapters with you and some of the different situations, because I think he goes over a lot of different situations that we experience in our marriage, and some of the stuff I thought was really good. If you don't know who James Dobson is, he's an actual certified counselor. He's been around forever. He's a part of the Focus on the Family ministry, and they do an awesome job. If you're not on their mailing list, I encourage you, get on their mailing list. They have great resources and things to help you out in your marriage. So just go to Focus on the Family. I believe it's .org or .com. Google it, you'll see it, or put in James Dobson, Focus on the Family. But anyway, you'll find it. It's a great ministry. Get on the list. Go through some of that stuff. Better yourself in your marriage. But anyway, this first chapter, and we're going to be going over this over the next few weeks. So I want to go over some of the scenarios they have and some of the advice that they give and that I've actually used. And it's worked so well for me. And it's about 17 chapters in this book, plus an introduction, which I guess is what, 18 chapters. But we're going to go through each chapter, and I'm going to just pull out some stuff in different situations and scenarios that he presented to us, and we're just going to kind of break it down a little bit. So, guys, when you watch this video, please comment, ask questions, and we're just going to share. We're going to create a dialogue after each post, so we can help one another out, and this will be a greater way to bring out more conversation here on the Let's Stay Married fan page, you know, which I think it'll be really good for all of us. Not only will I be helping you, you guys will be helping me. We'll get to see different things from different perspectives. Not all of us have the same kind of marriage. Every marriage is different, but marriages work based on the same principles in life. You know, you have to honor, respect, love, and cherish one another. You know, you have to keep a healthy outlook and just healthy overall everything in your marriage, and that way it's a win-win for everybody. And we're also gonna get into how we need to retain our individuality as husbands and wives, yet share those individualities so that they come together and create a solid union as one. You know, so you're taking two and bringing them together and making something even more beautiful. And that's the whole purpose of marriage, to become one. When you get married, you don't become one right at that point when you say I do and you consummate the marriage. Becoming one is an actual process that you experience. And as you go along the journey, you grow and you get better and better. And you're supposed to be accomplishing things and changing the world with your marriage. So, okay, the first chapter is called let's talk about the introduction first, and then the next video we'll go into chapter 1. So the introduction actually starts off with a letter Mr. Dobson presented, and he kind of goes through it. So I think it's a really good letter. But what I think I want to do is well, I'm not going to read the whole letter. I'll just tell you what it was about. Okay. A husband wrote his wife a little letter, and he told her to sit down. And he said he had to talk to her about something very serious. And he said it would probably come as a shock to her, but he couldn't hold the truth any longer. But she deserved to know that he's been involved in an affair with a woman at his office for nearly 18 months. You know, he told his wife her name, and that she was very attractive, and he said that it started as innocent flirtation, but it quickly progressed into something more, and now they're unable to pretend any longer. And so he made an appointment with his attorney and everything to draw up the divorce papers, and he said he planned to divorce his wife as quickly as possible. He said, "I'm sorry, honestly I am. What more can I say? I never intended to hurt you, but I just don't love you any longer, and I do love Brenda very deeply. So, Carol, I'm asking you to make it easy for both of us and, of course, the kids, and we'll be better off as soon as this mess is settled." And that was the end of the letter that Dr. Dobson shared with us. And then Dr. Dobson chimes in to say, with those words, the world falls off its axis for an unsuspecting woman and the children who can't understand why she cries. Suddenly, everything stable in their life has been shattered. You know, and so from this point, he actually goes on and talks about how rejection and insult is blended with remorse and pain, and how the self-esteem at that point when you find out your spouse has been involved in an affair, how your world just kind of crumbles, so to speak, and your confidence is shot, and it gives way to a whole host of things, and mental torment, and you wondering how could this happen, or you know, you just start rehearsing all of these different things, or you know, how could this have started? What did I do? Why didn't I see this before? Were there flags that was going up? How did I miss this? You know, so he gets into all of that, and he talks about how some it's startling because it totally caught them off guard, and some of them thought that their marriage was actually okay, you know, but really they were living in the dark while their spouse was living a secret life, and then to the point that the spouse that was, you know, messing around could no longer hide it. So and he just kind of starts it with that, and he said and from that point he gives the purpose of why he wrote this book, and he said that the book that you're about to read provides alternatives for those in the midst of family crisis. He said, my purpose in writing this has been to offer some practical tools, some understandings which should be useful in drawing the apathetic husband and wife back into the direction of commitment. And what he goes on to say from there, something I thought that it really caught my attention when I was actually reading this book. He said, human conflict, if properly managed, can be the vehicle for transforming an unstable relationship into a healthy marriage. And that kind of caught my attention, and I'm like, how could this be turned around for the good in any kind of way, you know, at that point when everything is just like smacking you in the face, and it seems like there's really no hope, and you know, especially when the spouse is bent on doing what they're going to do, and they're blind, and you know. And so he really goes on to explain, he really gets deep into the heart, you know, of what happens in the lives and in the hearts and in the minds of the spouse that's guilty of infidelity, and then the spouse that's on the receiving end, that's catching all the outlash from everything that's going on, that's, you know, in total distress about what's going on in their marriage. So thank you. But this is, like I said, this is a great resource, and from this point he goes on and he even begins to break down on how different situations come up, different flags and stuff that should alert you on what's going on, how to deal with it properly in order to draw your spouse back in, and have them make a true decision on what they want to do. And sometimes the spouse decided, nope, divorce is what I want, and you know, but the other spouse that wanted it to work gave it their all, you know, but ultimately the choice rested with the other spouse who had to make the decision. And And then in a lot of other cases, we'll see where the spouse actually woke up or decided, really thought about what was going on and decided, hey, I still do love my spouse and I really want my marriage to work. It's just, you know, certain things that kind of drew me away, and I kind of got, and this is what pulled me this way, you know. So, and it also talks about different ways to put in different, what's the word I want to use, different things to help you keep your marriage on track, so to speak. So let me go ahead and end this, but I want to end it with something he said. I thought it was really good, and I actually highlighted. I'm gonna read it here for you. He said, after he explained everything that's going on in the letter, he said, but that's enough for now. Let me offer one precaution before we proceed. If you are a husband or a wife who is steadily losing the one you love, if you sense a growing disrespect and disdain from the most important person in your world. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I know my kids are really loud. Guys, I'll be done recording in a minute. Be quiet, okay? Give me a second. Okay. So he said, if you are a husband or wife who is steadily losing the one you love, if you sense a growing disrespect and disdain from the most important person in your world, this book is intended for your eyes only. Let me open these goldfish so he can go in the living room. Okay, here you go. Don't get him everywhere, okay? Chill out. I'll be in there in a second. He said, this book is for your eyes only. Do not, and I repeat, do not ask your partner to read it with you. At least you should review it first and then decide for yourself whether or not to reveal its message. It has been my experience that the principles of loving toughness are most effective when they are not discussed within the confines of a troubled marriage. I think you will soon understand why that is true. Thank you for permitting me to share some new concepts with you, and I hope you will find them helpful even if you do not have a family in crisis. Alright guys, so like I said, that was the introduction of Love Must Be Tough by Dr. James Dobson. Can you see that? And if you guys don't have it, and if you would like to read along with me so we can just kind of go back and forth and some dialogue after I post these videos, I would greatly appreciate it. I would love to hear your comments and your feedback and some of your thoughts on some of the ideas presented here for marriages. If you guys try some of this stuff, I would love to hear feedback. And if you don't feel comfortable about sharing some of the experiences you have, I get that. I totally get that, and nobody's forcing you to be out in the open, especially if it's a situation that you're currently experiencing. I don't expect you to share that with the world. You need to personally be healed and get past this before you're able to share it. And then some of you guys may actually find your healing in sharing what you're going through and getting feedback and listening to others. But if you're one of those people that want to share but you're kind of scared, you know, you don't really want anybody to know what you're going through, that's understandable. You can do something as simple as create another Facebook account. You can make it anonymous, and you can, I don't care, that's on you. You can use a fictitious name, or you can put Susan Anonymous or something like that and put anonymous picture, or just leave the picture blank. That way I'll know, or I don't even have to know. Just do it how you want to. You can just create another account if you don't want to use your personal account, and make comments and chat back and forth from that. That way you're protected. Your situation is not being exposed to people that you don't want to know, or people you don't want to be in your business or whatever. But we're not here to be in your business. We're here to help each other in their marriage, and to grow, and just to move past some of those hardships that we may be experiencing in our marriage. So alright guys, this was fun. Thanks for watching. I anticipate looking at your comments and just chatting with you guys on this subject. And the next video is going to be the first chapter, and we'll kind of get into some of those things and resources that they offer for your marriage. Alright, love you guys. Thanks for being a part of the Let's Stay Married community, and see you next video.